So, since forming 10 years ago, the indie rock band Blossoms has gone from strength to strength with the release of 3 #1 albums, numerous tours, collaborations with the likes of 80s pop star Rick Astley. That happened at Glastonbury.
Yeah, arguably he's really popular, more popular now than he was in the 80s. But Blossoms, preparing to headline, in their words, their biggest show yet. The Stockport-based group also has a new single out at this moment. Listen to it.
I was foolish, it's proven, keep moving, to-do list.
We're joined now by Blossoms lead singer Tom Ogden and drummer Joe Donovan. Good morning.
Good morning, you all right?
Very well. How are you?
Very well as well.
Yeah, good.
Are you good in the early mornings?
Yeah.
All right. I like to start morning with a walk.
Oh, no.
Not with the weather at the moment.
Do you know what?
Go on.
A bit more quiet.
He's a
isn't it?
rambler, Joe. He likes the whole...
Yeah, you know, when there's not as many people there, sort of. I like it. You hood up.
And do you
Vortex is made for a reason, isn't it?
Well, it's a good point. I like doing that too. Is it inspiring? Do you find it creative? Is that what
Oh,
you
I
want?
think so. Yeah, I think just getting out there. I don't really listen to any music. I don't really take my headphones with me or anything, and just sort of go and just... It's like
Be.
meditation or
Oh,
something.
you picture the scene?
Yeah, it does, yeah. I have to do it every morning, though. It's funny.
No.
Oh, it's good to have a routine. This latest single,
Yeah.
tell me about the history of it, because it comes from a poem, quite a kind of raw poem full of hurt after a breakup, which one of you... Who
I read it, yeah.
OK, and had you read a bit of this poet's work before?
Not before that, because basically I'm always looking, as a songwriter, I'm always looking for, like, inspiration from elsewhere, and I've done it since I was, like, 18, writing songs. I've took little bits and bobs from, you know, song titles from things I've been reading. So I'm always on the hunt for things. So I was just in a bookshop in London and I bought maybe, like, 4 books, and I was just, like, literally just flicking through, like, that one looks good, and then that was one of them. So then I was writing this song and then turned to... I was like, oh, I'm sure there was some bits in that poem which was kind of... I thought, oh, I need to go back to that.
Because it's post-breakup, isn't it? It's all the things you have to avoid doing.
Yeah, it's a to-do list after the
breaking.
break. It's literally what it says on the tin.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was a great concept for a song. And they start listing, you know, take refuge in your bed before... so the tears dry and all that kind of thing. I was like, oh, it's like a jumping point, innit? And often, sometimes you might put something like that in and then replace it, but whereas it just fit so well, it was kind of... We reached out to the poet and said, can we use it? And she said, yeah. So,
I suspect a lot of people who may not have heard the poem will hear the song and go, yeah, I know that feeling. It's one of those, isn't it? Because each one of them you go, oh, yeah.
Everyone's
I
been
remember
there,
that.
haven't they?
You've been there? I know. Well, you can tell me what you wish.
yeah, no, I think everyone's been there. We've both been there. I think that's why it's quite evocative, innit? And you're reading it and you're like, oh, I relate to that, like, back in the day. Not anymore.
This
It's all
poem
good
was...
now.
The poem was written by Rupi Kaur, and it feels like that collection of poems was, correct me if I'm wrong, kind of aimed at women.
Yeah.
And I just find it really interesting that guys have read it and thought, yeah, actually, which a lot of women will find, or you know, people will find quite refreshing. But then you've decided to have this as a duet as well.
Yeah, well, at first,
with
I think
Finlay.
she probably wrote it just from her perspective.
Of course.
Do you know what I mean? Which is probably more aimed at people who'd she'd be from her sort of...
Lived experience.
Yeah, lived experience and stuff, but then obviously anyone can sort of relate to that.
Of course.
Hence
Love's
why
a
obviously
universal language, isn't it? So when you go through
exactly,
a breakup, everyone relates to it, don't they? So, but I think, going back to what you said about it's written from her point of view, I think to me it felt right to make it a duet, and the lyrics kind of screamed from both sides a little bit to me, and I thought it would make sense. And we're fans of duets throughout the years.
Yeah.
You know? We've kind of wanted one for a while.
And Finlay was an obvious choice. We're massive fans of her. Me and Tom went to watch her before we were even in this band together. Do you know what I mean? We just went as fans, so when it came about, we were like...
Yeah, she's from Stockport as well, so there's like a connection there, and it worked out well.
Yeah. Can I ask you about tags? Because on our lead-in, we called you an indie band. Do you get bored with tags? Being you're one thing or another?
Yeah, I mean, there's always... You're going to have to say something. Do you know what I mean? It's like...
Well, you could just be Blossoms. Rather than having a kind of a...
Yeah.
I think you need a reference point. I think people who are maybe in our sphere would say, oh, you sound like Blossoms. At least you'd hope so now, wouldn't you? Like, after being around for a little bit.
You've been doing it for a while.
Yeah, but I don't particularly mind if someone says they sound a bit indie, they sound a bit pop, synthy or whatever.
I suppose the other thing is there's not as many indie bands as there once was, so it's quite nice having
Oh, so it has you like
yeah,
it.
do you know what I mean? I do sort of like it, yeah.
And then, because labels aside, you get to perform with all sorts of people. You're doing a duet now, but you're at Glastonbury with Rick Astley.
Yeah.
How about that?
I know.
Yeah, it was great, yeah. Rick's a very good friend. We're in London tonight and he's playing, so we might
He slept over at my house. we call it the Rick Astley suite.
Was he a good house guest?
He was great.
Tidy? Did he
Tidy.
strip the bed after?
I can't remember if he stripped it, but it was very well made.
Was he expected, or was it a surprise?
Yeah, no, it
appearance?
was. He was down in Stockport hanging out with us, and he was like, "Where should we stay in Stockport?" And we were like, "I'm not sure there's going to be like, you know, it's Rick Astley, and you're thinking, I don't know where you want to stay."
There's no Ritz in
no
in
diss to
Stockport.
like the hotels in Stockport, like, but I was like, "Why are you staying at my house? Like, we've got a spare room," and he was up for it. We made dinner, and we like had a few drinks, and everyone came around. It was lovely.
Oh, that's nice.
That's really lovely.
We went to the Blossoms pub, actually. And then all the other pubs started coming round, like, why don't you come to our pub for a drink? We were like, word was getting round that...
Well, Ashley's in town.
Yeah, Ashley's in town.
Cheapest drinks out for
Even
a
like,
while.
I remember when we went for some dinner. I went shopping and some lady turned around and she's like, "Are you Rick Astley?" And he was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Why are you here?" She couldn't fathom, like, she was just like, "Why are you in Stockport?"
Do you know, you played at Glastonbury with him, didn't you? But in our briefing notes, it says, in your words, the biggest ever, your biggest show yet at Wythenshawe Park is going to be the moment of your career so far. Explain that, because most people would think, I'm in a band and I get to play at Glastonbury and nothing will top it.
Well, I suppose, like, Glastonbury's a festival, isn't it? And it's the festival of festivals, isn't it? And we've done it a couple of times, and even if we're not playing, we go and just do the week with all our families. We go in motorhomes, we do the full lot. So we've got the bug, and we absolutely love it. But this Wythenshawe gig that's just been announced this morning is like our gig, and it's the biggest show we've ever done. So it's kind of more personal to us, and it's in Manchester. So
obviously important to you. Wasn't it your birthday yesterday?
It was my birthday.
And so you've come onto the breakfast sofa the day after your birthday.
I have.
That's commitment, isn't it?
No.
How's the head? All right.
Absolutely fine, you know. Went for a nice meal last night, didn't we?
yeah, we did.
I'm just buzzing about this gig, that's the one. Do you know
It's
what I
going
mean?
to be great.
It was,
It's going to be great. Are you wearing matching keys? You know, I was looking at you.
I thought you were like... I didn't know what you were looking at.
I was looking at you and I didn't... Yeah, what are the keys? The matching keys?
yeah.
What
We've
are
had
they?
these for a while. We've been friends for a long time now,
We have,
me and
yeah.
Joe. So when we used to go, like, out into Manchester, you start, like, dressing and kind of, I don't know, accessorising, don't you? And
They were
stuff like
hung
that.
up in my mum's house. And I was like, it's going to be, if I put that on a chain and wear it, that'll be quite cool. Thinking I was like... And then I did it, and then...
You stuck with it?
We started the band at the same time.
She got them from, like, an old family relative called Mr. B. And then we obviously started Blossoms, which began with B. So Joe's mum was very, like, they've got
It's a
something in
thing.
these
There's a
keys.
theme
Yeah.
there.
And then,
There's a
you know,
thing.
when we started wearing them and good things started happening, so we just kept them on.
Stick at it. Stick at
A
it.
lot of
Lovely
people are
scene.
very excited about the gig, so nice to see you this morning. Go and have your walk if you haven't
Good
done
luck.
already.
I'm gonna. Are you going to come down to the gig? You're both
Try.
invited, by the way.
Thank you. The Blossoms' new single, To-Do List, after the breakup, is out now. You are watching Breakfast, 8:59.